going to read a couple of other quotes just to give you a sense of what this involves. Again, this is Mr. McChesney in his own words. What we want to have in the U.S. and in every society is an internet that is not private property, but a public utility. We want an internet where you don't have to have a password and that you don't have to pay a penny to use. It is your right to use the internet. Apparently you never took Econ 101 because somebody pays for it. It's not just free, it doesn't fall from the sky. It's just a matter of who pays for it and how you reach the best results. Then he talks a little bit about the private companies that we've talked about who have invested so much in doing this. And his theory is that we're all just a bunch of dupes of these corporate interests. And he talks about how unpopular these companies are. Well, that's sort of odd because if we're all just dupes to these private interests that are controlling our minds and telling us what to think, you'd think that they would be the most popular companies. So he's self-contradictory. One other quote that I'm going to read from him, and I'll actually get to it in a second when we talk about broadband access in America, but even they admit that we're making great progress in this. So one of the best ways to think about this in terms of messaging when you're talking about net neutrality is it's a solution in search of a problem. What's wrong with internet access now? Is it perfect? No. Nobody's saying that anything in life is perfect. But what's the best way to reach the optimal ends? Private industry has expanded it to the point we're at now. It's created, the internet and telecom access that we all use on a day-to-day basis. That's not because government did it. It would take, to use Barack Obama's favorite analogy, apparently with regard to healthcare, it would take FedEx and turn it into the post office. So, be very, very aware of that. But as far as the bill itself goes, net neutrality, again, it's a title that has to be battled because it's not neutral. And some of the parallels that we can draw here, and don't take my word for it. Call me an advocate, say I'm some sort of true believer or something. Look into this yourself. Find out what this bill does. Good analogy is the fairness doctrine. That's probably the best way to compare net neutrality out there. Because fairness doctrine is the government getting involved in something that is flourishing and imposing its views. Some people will come back and say, no, net neutrality is actually about the First Amendment, because if we don't have net neutrality, all these opinions are going to get stifled, and these service providers can discriminate on who can have access to you through the internet. Ask yourself, is there a problem right now accessing information on the internet and some of these groups that are somehow blocking access to you? Again, it's a solution in search of a problem.
Is there any truth to the charges by conservatives and others that the government is trying to take over the internet?
Well, I don't think that the government is trying to take over the internet. What they're trying to do is centralize the control so that they can impose what they see as in the best interest of the people. And this is the ideological difference that raises the concern of people in this room and people like me, right? We don't believe that inherently government knows better than the individual what the individual should consume. We believe in the competition. We believe in the free market that happens when people come into an arena of ideas and are attracted towards what works for them. And what we've seen is a mentality of liberals that says, I know better than that individual. So it's inevitable when they get in power that they're going to try and have this power grab. To say the government's trying to take over the internet, I think sort of is a little bit on the inflammatory side. I think they're trying to say, we've got a great idea, we've got a great plan, and if you would just let us implement it, it'll be in your best interest.
You said that net neutrality is a solution in search of a problem. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that there's all this government intervention that's being proposed for a problem that doesn't exist. They talk about how some of these service providers might discriminate against different content providers, but it just doesn't occur because people who are blocked from accessing information they want or need can go to another provider. What it's going to do is it's going to stifle internet and telecommunications innovation, which has flourished because government has kept its nose out up to this point. When government gets its nose involved, that's when things really start to go wrong. Look at price controls. They never work. When government starts sticking its nose into issues like the internet, that's when the beginning of the end for it.